Let me ask you, where do you stand on this? Because what Walter is pointing out is something that's rumbled through my mind and the mind of others. First of all, who are the voters who would be deprived? The Trump voters. It's not one size fits all. There are a lot of different kinds of people out there who are attracted to Trump for various reasons. We know who he is. He's a bad guy. Where do you stand on this?
I hate to disagree with my good friend and former neighbor, Walter Isaacson, but Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is an eligibility requirement. Just like you have to be 35, just like you have been born in the United States. So, assuming the Supreme Court takes this case, and I think they have to take this case, you have conflicting decisions of the state's highest courts across the country on a matter of the interpretation of the U.S. Constitution. But it's an eligibility requirement. You could argue that all eligibility requirements are anti-democratic because of the eligibility requirement in the Constitution. I cannot vote for Arnold Schwarzenegger for president. When Henry Kissinger and Madeleine Albright were alive, I could not have voted for them either because they were not born in the United States. So in that sense, there is a limiting effect to eligibility requirements, and this is one of them. This is a duly enacted amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It remains on the books. It has not been repealed, and judges are sworn to uphold the U.S. Constitution, and that's what the Supreme Court in Colorado did here. I read the decision. I thought it's a very well-read, thoughtful decision, point by point by point, and it is a plain reading of the U.S. Constitution, and you can't get around that.
No, I think the eligibility question is what they're going to have to really face. And I agree with you. When you look at the language in Section 3, 14th Amendment, it doesn't give you any room other than to say, if the court's going to take it, that, well, what we saw January 6th was not an insurrection and he was not involved. How do you say that? And if it was an insurrection and you've got all these people indicted and some going to jail for it, and he did incite it, then how is he eligible to be on the ballot? You can't have it both ways. I also think that I raised the racial implications, which the 14th Amendment came out of dealing with an insurrection over slavery. And you deal with the fact that they pinpointed certain states with a major black populace that voted, all the way down to the two ladies that just won a defamation case that Giuliani lost.
Yes.
There was racial implications here. So I think that the court has to take it, and I think they have a real tough decision, because if they go one way, they're going against three of them anyway, who would have to face the fact that this guy put them on there. But if they go another way, then are we redefining what is an insurrection in this country?
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, that's what I wonder here. I mean, if you're setting a precedent, you're setting a precedent that insurrectionists should not be allowed to run for office. And if that's the precedent, great. It seems to me to make a lot of sense. I don't know where else besides in the courts something like this could be spelled out. It tried, the effort was made during the January 6th committee hearings, Joyce, where we saw the run-up to what happened on January 6th, and it was horrendous. What other states are dealing with this? What are the implications of this ruling, do you think?
Yeah, so it's a great question, Mika, because there are numerous states. Minnesota, I think, is the best parallel because they held a similarly serious proceeding, but the state Supreme Court in Minnesota took the decision away from the trial judge and decided as a matter of law that they would permit Donald Trump to stay on their ballot. So to Secretary Johnson's point about this as a qualification issue, that's precisely what it is, and it's one for every state. And whether we think that that's politically feasible and politically desirable, that's how our system is set up to work. And as students of history, I think, recent history, we have to appreciate that Donald Trump pushed the lie, the myth that Barack Obama was not a natural-born American citizen. And he did that because had he been successful, that would have meant that President Obama would not have been qualified to be on state ballots. That was, in essence, an effort by Donald Trump to keep Obama off the ballot because of a qualification decision. So the irony, I guess, is a little bit rich that we're at this point with Trump, where under a different provision, the 14th Amendment, his ability to qualify for the ballot is being considered. But at bottom, that's what this is. This is a legal decision, not a political decision. And as far as the law goes, for strict constructionists like conservatives on the Supreme Court who read the law, and if the law is unambiguous and clear, believe that they should follow that law, this is a straightforward decision. But as so many folks have pointed out this morning, it cannot be a straightforward decision because it involves Donald Trump, who on so many occasions has gotten the benefit of protections of the law, of safe harbors, of due process that lets him delay. Here, though, when the law is being squarely applied to him, he doesn't like that outcome quite as much.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Former U.S. Attorney Joyce Vance, thank you.